and let me have a privilege to introduce you over these guys, over the students. So, hello guys. The today's topic will be very much interesting for you all because it is related to petroleum production production problems that are facing in current environment in oil and gas industry. So this presentation will be all related to that. And it's our pleasure to have Mr. Sayyid Basharatuddin Ahmad, who is currently working as a pre-sales engineer in technology solutions. Uh, and he's also working in SK Oilfield Equipment Private Limited. And moreover, that if you see that he's a gold medalist from JNTU Hyderabad in petroleum engineering, and he and his team were awarded from SP Outstanding Student Chapter in the year 2016 and 2017. Uh, and he also published his two papers. The first paper is on mitigation of risk and uncertainty in oil and gas exploration wells using geoscience approach to execute and interpret extended well extended leak of test, which is associated with petroleum geologist. And another paper what he published is like analysis of rheological properties of crude oil with surfactant, which is published in Drilling and Exploration World Journal in the year of 2016, which is issued in volume number 25, number 5. You can visit the page number 57 to 63 directly to visit this paper, this outstanding paper. And so we are very privileged to have Mr. Syed Basharat sir to present the production problem faced in Indian oil and gas industry, and more relevantly, we'll see the solutions of what we can by which we can approach to those problems. So kindly let this presentation go smoothly, and whatever you doubt you have, you can ask at the end of presentation, and you can even mention those doubts in the chat box. Okay, so I hand over the presentation. This today's presentation webinar to Syed Basharat sir. So sir, you can continue out your presentation, sir. Thank you so much for letting me speak about yourself. So please carry on, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nawaz, sir, for this humble introduction. Just to give you all a background, you all 7 people. Sayed Nawaz is actually my senior from 2 years, so it is actually, I mean, his humbleness is he's calling me sir, but the truth is we all should be calling him sir, and he's always been like an elder brother to me, guiding me and helping me out. So to give you a further background, this whole topic started with me and Nawaz just talking about production. What is important to students? What is something that we needed back when we were students? So that's when we thought, okay, let's just present this topic and let's see what students have to say. So good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Syed Basharat. I am a pre-sales engineer at SK Oilfield. I am very honored to present at Lord's Institute of Engineering Technology, Petroleum Engineering Department on this problem, which is on the title, which is called Production Problems Faced in the Indian Oil and Gas Industry, a petroleum engineer's perspective. So before I start, one thing that I want to just clarify is that the importance of this topic. Production problems is actually so important that, everything, if you open any book, you learn about reservoir engineering, you learn about drilling engineering. But what is so important when you enter the industry is when you are given a 10 set of wells and then you suddenly see decline in some of those wells and suddenly they become problem wells. And then you have to now, your responsibility as a petroleum engineer is to work on those problems, to solve those problems, to make sure that the well is back in the production. So once and the reality is there are so many problems happening in all parts of world, so many production problems happening, that we decided that let's just have a topic on production problems and let's just we will talk about all the things about how to first think how to solve this problem. What should be the your framework? What, why, where, when, how? These questions. Hopefully, we will learn the answers to these questions by the end of this presentation to each type of problem. And not only that, we'll also learn how to solve these problems. How have people solved it in the past? How will we solve it in the past, in the future? So this will be the theme of this entire presentation. On the right side, you see some images that I've kept. On the top left, you see an image of scaling happening in casing. This was a well that was produced from casing. So after so many years, operators removed the casing and then they saw that so much of wax has been deposited. And as wax was deposited, they realized that the diameter was also reduced, and that's why this was one of the reasons why production was dropping. The other image I've kept on the top right is of water coning. This is very famous and this is very common. It happens almost everywhere, all over the India. Below to the left, you see, so my apologies, I'll be explaining while at the same time trying to add people. But if any of you attendees are able to add people on the fly as well, you can just let me know. You can add it, or if not, you can just tell me. Um, on the bottom left, you see a bad cement job. This is one of the problems that happens. And on the bottom right, you see an image, which is an image log that basically shows you कि कितना scale यहाँ पे deposit हो चुका है. And because of that, production problems are happening. So with that said, this whole theme is basically on problems. What are the production problems? How to solve it? So let me begin this journey that we are in right now. Before I start, let me tell you the benefits of this talk. We are going to discuss about the real and not academic examples of the problems and how were those problems solved. While we are on this journey, while I'm explaining this, this will be more of a discussion, so I need all of you to also, you can unmute your microphones, all of you, and we can have a discussion. A lecture shouldn't just be one way where the guy is speaking and the others are all listening. It should be two way, where the guy is asking questions and the other audience is also answering questions. The audience is also asking questions and the guy who's presenting is answering their questions. So if it's this two-way communication, I think it would be better. And hopefully, I think you have 1.5 hour to spare your time. And because this journey may take that much time, but I'll try to keep it short. But the request was if you can just unmute all of your microphones, because I'll tell you why is this important. While we are on this journey, while we are discussing all this, you'll also your basics of petroleum engineering will also be polished. And of course, the third bullet point is basically, production problems are what is important. So now when you know what's your problem, you get an idea that, acha, this is important, this is not important. And if you know that, then you can divide your attention accordingly. And of course, last but not the least, we are also touching GATE. GATE in petroleum engineering. Below, you see a screenshot of your own syllabus. The topic of today is actually the topic that is there in GATE syllabus, the part that I've kept a red rectangle on, production problems and mitigation. So these are the benefits of the talk. And also, my apologies, I didn't get to acknowledge this, but heartful thanks to Petroleum Universe, Syed Nawaz, for also setting this up and bringing all of you 10 people under this banner. My profile already, Nawaz has already explained who am I, but just to give you a brief, I was fortunate and humble to receive gold medal certificate from my university, which is the same university that your college is also affiliated to. I joined SK in 2018. I basically do business development of reservoir and production technology solutions all over the country. So I've traveled almost all over the country. On the right side, you see me, top right, you see me explaining one presentation about on casing running tool in Mumbai. Below, you see me in Oil India. This is Assam. Digboy is very historically very significant in India as oil and gas history. On the top left, you see me just having one of the tools that I'm explaining to other people. My hobbies are obviously, one of the hobbies is to work out, read, and explore, run new places. But one more hobby that I have developed over the past years is also volunteering, meaning helping people for free, for not for any charge. And one of this picture on the middle left, you see that's me just spending some of my time with these kids from Madarsa back when this is a place in Chevella. So back then I was in a hostel preparing for GATE, and I used to make some of my time to just teach them English. So it was also, so volunteering is something that I always liked, and that is also the reason why we are having this talk today. Just for information, this is all for free. I mean, we're not charging anything. And yeah, my published papers in brief, I've done on drilling, related to drilling, called extended leak off test. Another papers was on surfactants. So that gave me a lot of understanding of the production problems. I won't spend much time through this slide, but this is just kept to back up whatever was written in the earlier slide. The gold medal certificate and all these people and certificates are here. Now, before I start, let me just ask if can you all unmute yourself and just confirm if you're able to see my screen?
Yes, Basharas, we can see your screen. You can go ahead. You are in profile of Syed Basharatuddin Ahmed screen. Yeah, now we can see your credentials. Yeah, and now we can see your agenda. So you can go ahead, sir.
Right. Thanks a lot for that confirmation, Nawaz sir. So agenda for today is basically I'm going to teach you what are the problems that we are facing in the oil and gas industry. Since me being in the industry, I've traveled the parts of the country and I've noticed few things, and that's the whole thing. I'm going to explain you what are the problems that we are observing, and where are these problems happening? Is it happening in the reservoir? Is it happening in the well? Is it happening on the surface? So we're going to talk about these problems. Things like in reservoir, there's low reservoir permeability. There's low reservoir pressure often in brown fields. Brown fields are basically fields that have very less reservoir pressure now because they have matured. So low reservoir pressure, formation damage. In under wells, we are going to see about liquid loading, uh, what is wax, scale, paraffin, excessive water production and gas production happening in oil wells, sand control, lost circulation. Now, bear in mind, lost circulation is not actually a production problem; it's a drilling problem. But in a workover application, you put your workover fluid, and sometimes lost circulation happens on that fluid as well. So I'm going to cover that aspect today. And of course, there is a dedicated question and answer session. But since there are only 9 people on this meeting, you can all unmute your microphones and ask me questions on the fly. I will ask you questions on the fly because, like I said, it's not a one-way thing, it's a two-way thing. So I will be asking questions over here because we are all going to work on this together in this journey. So now, before I speak about each problem, what's more important is how do you identify a problem well? Let's say I take one example, Abdul Wahid. I've given Abdul Wahid is a petroleum engineer. Imagine he joins in a good company for sure in the coming future, and he joins and I'm his boss, and I give him 10 wells, and his job is to monitor them. So then suddenly he sees के his job is to basically identify के problem wells कौन से है, मतलब which are the problem wells out of those 10 wells. So Wahid, question to you, how do we identify के out of 10 wells which are the problem wells?
Sir, if there is water cooling and
Right. Yeah,
other
so
production problems you can identify.
exactly. So one of the ways, so water cooling, look, ultimately, वो तो, from the surface level, water coning from a reservoir level, कि वो ऐसा cone हो रहा है. But from the surface level, you're at the surface, right? Your office is at surface. So one of the ways to actually know कि problem wells कौन से है in out of these 10 wells is really simple. Sudden decline in production. You
Yes,
have a
sir.
well suddenly it was producing, and suddenly, you know, there's a decline in production, and that's it. That's one of the simplest symptom to pick up के अच्छा यहाँ पे कुछ problem है. That as in, yes, there is something going on here. Out of my 10 wells, 5 wells में suddenly there's a production drop.
Or
Uh,
it can be put as a rise in water cut.
Yeah, rise in water cut is also one of the ways. But like I said, I'm talking about oil production. So look, ultimately, we petroleum engineers, we are concerned only with oil production. If water production happens, that is a problem, yes. But I'm saying in order to pick up a symptom कि oil production कम हो रहा है, that is one of the ways to just target ke yes, there is a problem with. And yes, if water is producing, then yes, obviously water will produce and oil won't produce. So that is also one of the ways to look at the problem. The equivalent analogy of this is like on a day-to-day level example is a person coughing. You know, आज के COVID के ज़माने में तो we already know कि if a person is coughing, you know what that means. But the reality is, of course, that's not true. But I'm saying that if a person is coughing, suddenly he was healthy, suddenly he's coughing. So that means there's something going on. Okay, there's a problem. A cough, yeah, cold. He probably ate something wrong. So that is one of the symptoms to identify first. Okay, this is a problem with. Now the second step is you have to solve that problem well. You have to revive the production back to its original level. So then how do you? So in order to solve that problem, in order to revive it back, you need to first identify what's the cause of the problem. Why is this sudden decline happening in the first place? It's also called root cause analysis. So how do you do root cause analysis? How do you know कि अच्छा problem हो रहा है यहाँ पे, क्यों हो रहा है? How do you find this out? Well, any clues? Any guesses anyone would like to make? Yeah, well, I mean, that's okay. It's the simplest things. I'm not talking about anything hi-fi here. Do simple well test. Every well, as a standard SOP, you do a well test every once a month or once in 2 months or once in 3 months. This is standard. We keep doing this, and once we do this, we suddenly see, okay, uh, once a well test is, there are various methods to do well test. There is a drawdown test, there is a build up test, and the whole idea is to basically produce a well at certain amount of time, and then see basically at what drawdown, what was the reservoir pressure, what was the production rate. You compare it with 1 year before, and then you see okay, there's a drop happening. Sometimes you can also infer a lot of interesting things as well. One more way is production logging. Production logging is basically, it's a PLT tool. Let's say you have a well which had 5 zones, one single well which had 5 zones. So sudden production decline may happen because either one of that zone is not producing enough, or maybe all of the 5 zones are not producing enough. So in that case, you run a PLT. A production logging tool just goes inside, finds out which zone is producing how much, and from there on you can actually diagnose okay, this zone is actually not doing good, this zone is actually doing good, this zone is actually producing water, so let's just do something about it. So that's how you do root cause analysis. Okay, which one was producing how much, and which basically zone is having this problem. So new technologies, there are new technologies as well, like distributed temperature sensing, which basically is like a production logging tool, but instead production logging tool was measuring flow on basis of spinner flow meter, whereas distributed temperature sensing does it on temperature basis. It is qualitative, so it only tells which one is producing high, which one is producing low. It doesn't tell you actual figures. There's chemical production logging tool as well, which we'll come to later. So the analogy that I'm trying to show you here is this thing of that patient that I told you about who's coughing, that same problem, that same patient, he now goes to a doctor. In this case, you're the doctor. The petroleum engineer is the doctor. The problem well is the patient. and the petroleum engineer is putting his stethoscope. Basically, his the stethoscope in this sense is, you know, his understanding of petroleum engineering, his well testing interpretation skills, his production logging skills. So he puts those skills in the problem well, and that's how he finds out, okay, yes, there is something going on here that has to be fixed. Uh, water production, who's producing water example, as Wahid said, is one of the ways you find out, okay, yes, this is root cause. So I'll just quickly go through this slide. Like I said, the stethoscope in this case is, as I've said, tools which is well testing, production drawdown, production buildup, production logging tool. So I'll just explain you in brief about what this is, as just as a standard, just to give you a brief so that you understand it. Well testing, as you know, as I've explained, it's you put a underbalance to your formation so that it produces. You plot the production of the product of the oil that is coming out with respect to time. You plot it in a graph. You do some analysis. You do it over a long period of time, and then you're able to find out skin empirically. And with that skin, you substitute on the second equation, and then you find out what is the degree of, what's the radius of the skin that is happening. So that is one of the way. The other way is PLT, production logging tool. As I've told you, this basically has lots of components in it. It's costly as well because of these components. There's a flow caliper tool, which basically caliper, it contracts when it is sensing a reduction in diameter. There's a gas holdup tool that basically tells how much gas is being produced. There's a gradiometer that basically bases on density, it's able to measure, okay, whether oil is being produced or gas is being produced or water is being produced, because their densities are different. There's gamma ray as well. There's lots of things in PLT. There's downhole camera as well, in case it's an offshore well, where PLT is also risky, because PLT is indirectly inferring things. Well, how about do something direct? How about look at it as it is? So then you use a downhole camera, and this is one of the image of a downhole camera. Then there's another technology that is offered by us, chemical PLT, where that is also able to tell you which zone is producing how much. So now we begin our journey. We are going to talk about all these problems one by one. And while we are discussing about these problems, remember I use the word discuss. So it's not just me explaining. I am going to ask you some questions. You're going to ask me some questions, and that's how we are going to cover each step in this process. So you can unmute yourselves. Reservoir. Now we come to the first problem, which is highlighted in red. Low reservoir permeability. So low reservoir permeability or tight reservoirs. So what do you mean by this? Question to anyone. How about Wahid?
Flowing capacity
Yeah.
is low.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, flowing capacity is low, like
Exactly. Flowing capacity is low because if your permeability originally was this much, and in tight reservoir it is even further reduced. You can see my finger, right? So it is further reduced. So because of that reduction, production will also happen less. So as sorry, I didn't get your name, but yes, you're right. Permeability. So in tight reservoirs, we quantify this number. How much should be the permeability be? Well, it should be less than 0.1 millidarcy. This is very tight. And how do you infer that this is the permeability? You in an exploratory well phase, you either take a core and you do a testing at the surface, or you do a well test which doesn't require taking any core. This is just examples of the lithologies that are out there in the world. You can see natural gas from coal. So coal-bed methanes have high, good permeability, good porosity. Little less permeability is conventional oil and gas reservoir, which is there all over India. Then there are limestone reservoirs that are having very low permeability, and this is there in the western offshore part of India. And then there is tight gas, tight oil sandstone, which is there in the western onshore part of India. And then ultimately there is shale, which is very tight. So you can see tight gas, tight oil, tight reservoir is actually having permeability of 0.01. which is as per the definition. Now, this is the definition. Now, how do you, now let's say you were, Abdul Wahid was sent in a field and suddenly he doesn't have all this background information. Okay, core test, he doesn't have core test, he doesn't have well test. So what are the other ways to confirm that he is having a tight reservoir?
NMR logging.
NMR logging is actually, yes, that is a very good way, and it comes under logs. Very good. NMR logging, in fact, does permeability measurements. It even does saturation measurements. NMR is also costly. So my question is, how do you do it without running a log? Wahid is just entered into the field. You say, I just gave him 10 fields. You do whatever you want with it. So Wahid, one of the options Wahid has is look at the production profile, because a conventional reservoir will have a production profile. If you can see my mouse pointer, can you see my mouse pointer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in a conventional reservoir, the production is happening. The depletion is happening uniformly. It's a straight line. It may decline a little bit, but it's fine. With time, production is on y-axis, time is on x-axis, and production is happening on a gentle slope. Whereas tight reservoirs, whereas Wahid, once he is entered and if he has to confirm, he'll look at this production profile, because here you can see the minute you perforated that well, production was good, but then in a short amount of time, production has fallen so quickly. I mean, you can see the steep decline. So that is one of the ways. And that was happening because the minute you perforated, you only produced the oil that was near the wellbore, but you couldn't produce the oil that was beyond the wellbore, far field, because it's tight. It's not allowing oil to be produced. So obviously, consequence of all this is you have less production. You're making less money because you also have to sell to refinery. You also have less than anticipated production often. Even I've seen this. Operators were complaining that even though it's tight, even though they planned a good solution, despite that, they still got less than anticipated production. So now, like I said, we are going to look at all the problems: what, why, where, when, how. Now we come to the last segment: how to fix this. So Wahid, now tell me, you have confirmed that you have a tight reservoir. Now tell me, how do we make it untight? How do we increase permeability?
Sir, hydraulic fracturing.
Yes, while
recovery method.
Enhanced oil recovery method, I'll come to that. There are other reasons to go for enhanced oil recovery. But like he said, hydraulic fracturing is one of the ways. But what is hydraulic fracturing doing in the sense? Look at the cause of the problem first, and not just arrive to the solution. Solution is good. So what was the cause of the problem? Less permeability. So you need to increase permeability, and that is done by many ways to look at this problem. Actually, hydraulic fracturing is just one of the ways. The other ways, like I said, look at the production profile. It was able to produce only near wellbore. So in order to improve your drainage, one more way is do a horizontal well. You create a vertical well, put a whipstock, go horizontal. That is one of the way. The other way is, as Wahid said, hydraulic fracturing. The third way is, how about combine both? Do horizontal well, and upon that do hydraulic fracturing. This is called plug and perf. So you can see the image on the right. You see a vertical well. It wasn't producing well, so you made a horizontal well. And then if you want even more production, then extended reach horizontal well. And then even if you want even further, your reservoir is very thick, so go for multilateral well. And if it's very tight, then go for horizontal plus hydraulic fracturing, as you can see in the last image. Now, of course, this is something that people have done in the past. Now, when you are given a field, you have to think not in the sense that whatever worked in the last time will work this time as well. No, that is wrong thinking. The thinking that I want you to take is, okay, what worked last time and what are the limitations of the techniques that were used last time? For example, horizontal well may cost you a lot. For example, hydraulic fracturing, let's say in the last picture, there was a oil water contact very near, and hydraulic fracturing, is you can't control the fracture rate, right? You just pump from the surface, fracture will go wherever it wants to. I mean, you don't control it, I don't control it. So it may penetrate the oil water contact and you may start producing water. So these are some of the limitations that you also need to be aware of. So then, yeah.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sir, like you said in the fourth figure that we should go for multilateral wells. Okay?
Yes.
So as it is coming at the meeting point from both the wells, so the flow rate will be similar. Means we can't differentiate the flow rate of these two wells. So how come we identify the problem if we have any kind of problem in the second well or in the first well related to flow rate?
Anything. Yeah. You're right. That's a good question. For example, what Nawaz sir is saying is, let's say if water was producing, you wouldn't know for sure which one was producing water, or anything happens to one lateral. How do you confirm that this is happening in that lateral only and not the other one? Well, PLTs are there with they have tractors in it. So now PLT can even earlier PLTs were able to go only vertical because of gravity, but now we have new tools like Weltec that basically puts wheels on the PLT so that now PLT can go horizontally. So PLT has everything, gradiometer, spinners that can basically tell you what is producing from which lateral. Now the question is, conveyance problems may happen when you're running a PLT in the second multilateral, right? Because it's a horizontal and then it's going even further horizontal. Well, in this case, you can run something called, like I said, that there are limitations to PLT as well. For example, this is one of the good limitations of PLT. It can't go in the bottom one, right? So one of the ways to do that then is go chemical PLT. Chemical PLT means it's a chemical tracer that goes with the completion in the multilateral well in the beginning itself. So this tracer is intelligent and it will deploy tracers along with whatever is being produced. So if oil is being produced, oil tracer will come. If water is being produced, water tracer will come. So that is one of the ways that we can look at this. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thanks for that. So now that you know, okay, what have been used in the past, now that you also know what are the limitations of whatever has been used in the past, then you broaden your mind. Now you think, okay, so what are the new technologies out there? For example, if I had a oil water contact very near, how do I fix it without hydraulic fracturing? Well, you need to have something that is controlled. So then you can have something called one more way to do horizontal well multi-stage fracking is using these frac sleeves, because coming back to the point plug and perf, that requires a lot of propellant. So one of the ways you have to also think is how do we reduce cost? How do we reduce propellant? And at the same time, how do I increase reservoir connectivity? Well, you use something called a frac sleeve. A frac sleeve is basically, it's like take my shirt as a sleeve. You go, this is attached with the casing. You go with coil tubing, and then when it's time to frac, you pull the sleeve up. So once you pull the sleeve up, my skin is a little bit revealed. In the same way, the formation is also revealed, and then you just frac it. So now you're doing concentrated fracs. With that, you're concentrating your frac in one point, so it will happen. A deep reservoir connectivity will happen. Now, again, this is recommended when reservoir thickness is good. Now, how about, as a question I raised earlier, what if the oil water contact is very near? What do you do then? Well, we have something called, we as SKO, we also provide needle penetration technology, which basically are these needles on the right side of the image that you see. The needle can be 12 meter in length. You apply surface pressure and these needles will then go into the formation. So the needle length is controlled. So no matter how much pressure you apply, unlike hydraulic fracturing, in this case, your penetration is controlled. So it won't penetrate oil water contact. One more way is lateral jetting that we provide. Lateral jetting is a technique where you mill the casing and then you're able to create 100-meter long laterals, which is very interesting, which is kind of like you're creating a miniature horizontal well from a vertical well to increase reservoir connectivity, to increase drainage. So now that you know, okay, what has been done in the past, what are the limitations of that, now that you also know that what are the new technologies now, what are the new things that that technology can do, which addresses the limitations of the past, then how do you then decide ke, which technology should I go with? Should I go with hydraulic fracturing only, or should I go with this lateral jetting? Ultimately, it all comes down to now economics, as in capital expenditure. How much is it costing in the first place? Is it very high? Is it very low? Is it compared to that? What about operational expenditure? Operational expenditure means once you've brought it, once you've installed it, what are the operational expenditure that are happening after installation? For example, uh, anything. It could be sand coming back to the surface because you didn't do the right type of fracking. So now you have to deal with sand. Uh, what about risk assessment? Like I said, if you do a horizontal well, hydraulic fracturing, which has a oil water contact very near, so you need to take that into account when doing this. So that's called risk assessment. Once I do that, what happens then? That is risk assessment. And then ultimately break even time. As in break even, we are all aware of what is break even. It's the concept when whatever you brought has been paid back to you. Now, question isn't paying back. The question is when is it being paying back? So that is one of the factors to decide you. And ultimately, you have to also, as a petroleum engineer, do a good reservoir study and actually ask yourself, can that reservoir actually produce? Is it worth investing all these new things? So, as in potential, as in how much barrels per day it can do. Is it high? Is it less? So with these factors, you can now have a framework. Okay, this was my problem. What, why, where, and this is how I fix it.
So that's an end for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like so, then hit like, share, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel Petroleum Universe. Press the bell icon for the latest notification. Have a nice day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.